I awoke in a world of shadows and confusion. My senses were a cacophony of sights, sounds, and sensations that I struggled to comprehend. My body felt alien, a disjointed assembly of parts, each with its own peculiar function. I tried to move to understand this newfound existence, but my limbs obeyed only with great effort and uncertainty. Around me, machines hummed and hissed, their purpose beyond my grasp. A strange figure, his face concealed by a white mask, stood nearby, observing me with a mixture of fascination and trepidation. I longed to speak, to ask him who I was and where had I come from, but my vocal cords remained silent. The days that followed blurred together as I lay in the sterile confines of the laboratory, subjected to countless examinations and experiments. I could see my reflection in a polished surface, a patchwork of flesh and metal, a monstrous amalgamation of humanity and artifice. But who was I? What had brought me into existence? The man in the mask, who I came to know as Victor, was my creator. He had crafted me from the remnants of the dead, a grotesque feat of science and hubris. He had pieced together my body with the care of a sculptor and the madness of a sorcerer, bestowing upon me life where there had once been only death. As the doctor's intentions became clear, a torrent of emotions swelled within me: confusion, anger, and above all, a profound loneliness. I was a wretched creature, shunned by both nature and mankind, a grotesque mockery of life. Yet, in my heart, I yearned for the companionship and understanding that had been denied to me. I watched the doctor's every move, learning from his actions and the words he spoke to his assistants. I discovered that I was capable of understanding language, and though my voice remained a hollow, guttural sound, I could convey my thoughts through writing. The doctor was both my captor and my teacher, and in time, I grew to understand the nature of my existence. It was during those early days that I first ventured beyond the confines of the laboratory. The doctor had grown obsessed with his experiments, and I often found myself wandering the darkened halls, seeking some connection to the world beyond. My journey brought me to the heart of the city, where the sights and sounds of life filled me with both wonder and despair. It was there, amidst the bustling streets and the flickering lamplights, that I encountered my first human. She was a young woman with raven hair and eyes that sparkled with vitality. I watched her from the shadows, my heart aching with longing. I yearned to approach her, to bridge the chasm that separated us, but my monstrous visage held me back. As I observed her, a strange sensation welled up within me, a hunger unlike any I had ever known. It gnawed at my insides, urging me forward, compelling me to act. I watched in horror as my hand reached out, my arms closing around her. The woman gasped in terror, her eyes wide with disbelief, as I squeezed the life from her. In that moment, as the life faded from her eyes and her body grew limp in my grasp, I understood the depth of my own monstrosity. I was a creature of death, a perversion of life, and I had taken a life that I had no right to claim. A wail of anguish escaped my lips, and I dropped the lifeless form to the ground. I fled from the scene, consumed by guilt and self-loathing. I returned to the laboratory, seeking solace in the cold, sterile confines that had become my prison. The doctor, too consumed by his experiments to notice my absence, remained oblivious to the horror I had committed. In the days that followed, I grappled with the weight of my actions, haunted by the memory of that young woman's face. I had become a monster, in truth, a creature of darkness and death. I longed to undo the terrible deed I had wrought, to find some redemption for my soul. But redemption was not to be found in this world. I had been created in defiance of nature, and my very existence was an abomination. I could not atone for my sins, nor could I find forgiveness in the eyes of mankind. As the years passed, I wandered the world, a solitary and tormented soul. I sought solitude in the remote corners of the earth, avoiding the gaze of humanity and the reflection of my own monstrous visage. I had become a creature of the night, a specter of death, forever haunted by the knowledge of what I had become. In the end, I realized that I could never escape the darkness that lived within me. I was a creature born of hubris and madness, a perversion of life itself. My existence was a torment, and my soul was forever stained by the blood on my hands. And so, I embraced my fate as a wretched and accursed creature, forever condemned to walk the shadows of this world, a tragic creation of a madman's ambition.